Welcome to Future History Stories. Stories that spark the imagination about what the future might hold. Now, let's go back and see what happened in 2034. What if we could command machines without our hands, without our voices, only with thought? What if turning on a light required no switch, no command spoken out loud, only a silent intention in the mind? What if writing an email no longer needed a keyboard, but flowed directly from thought into text? And what if a paralyzed patient could move a prosthetic limb not with muscles, but with the whisper of an inner command? This idea has haunted scientists, philosophers, and storytellers for centuries. Until 2034, it remained a dream. The human brain is the most complex structure we know in the universe. 86 billion neurons, trillions of connections, firing and rewiring every moment. Each thought, each memory, each dream emerges from this dense network. For centuries, researchers tried to decode it. Now, in the 19th century, they first discovered that the brain produced electrical signals. By the 20th century, EEG machines recorded brainwaves, but they looked like stormy seas, noisy, imprecise, unreadable. No one could say with certainty, this wave equals this thought. In the early 21st century, brain-computer interfaces (BCI) began to appear. Some paralyzed patients learned to move a cursor across a screen by concentrating. But these systems were clumsy, bulky helmets, tangled wires, and painfully slow accuracy. The dream of controlling reality with pure thought seemed forever out of reach. Why it was so hard? The brain does not speak in words. It communicates in pulses of electricity, patterns of firing neurons. The same idea looks different in each person's brain. Even in the same brain, patterns change depending on fatigue, stress, or mood. Thinking of the word light is not enough. The brain doesn't store words, it stores associations, images, emotions. Decoding thought was like trying to read poetry written in lightning across the clouds. But the early 2030s rewrote the story. 2030 had given us stable qubits. 2031 brought the merger of quantum computers and AI. 2032 unlocked synthetic elements like X49, a room-temperature superconductor that revolutionized sensor design. 2033 created digital twins of the human body. By 2034, the pieces had fallen into place. New quantum sensors, built from synthetic elements, detect the faintest signals of individual neurons, non-invasively, safely, wirelessly. AI could decode the patterns. Digital twins could calibrate and filter them. And so, the first silent assistants were born. For the first time, people didn't need to speak to machines. They didn't type. They didn't tap, they thought. And the machines answered. They were called silent assistants because they lived not in screens or apps, but in the quiet space between thought and action. Quantum-powered sensors captured the storm of neural signals. I translated them in milliseconds. Digital twins checked and refined them for accuracy. A person thought, turn on the light. The bulb glowed. A writer thought, new sentence. Words appeared. An engineer thought, rotate the diagram. The design shifted on screen. The silence of command had arrived. In April 2034, in Berlin, a small press conference changed medical history. On stage sat a middle-aged man in a wheelchair. A decade earlier, an accident had severed his spinal cord. He had not walked since. A technician placed a thin, nearly invisible band across his head. The room fell silent. The man closed his eyes. He breathed deeply and he thought, stand. His legs trembled. Silent assistants translated the thought into precise electrical impulses. Nerves long dormant flickered to life. Slowly, painfully, he rose. For the first time in years, he stood upright. The room erupted in tears and awe. Medicine had turned a page. Surgeries changed overnight. Neurosurgeons guided microscopic robots, not with joysticks, but with intention. Cut, they thought, and a laser scalpel made a millimeter incision. Stop, they thought, and it obeyed instantly. Digital twins ensured safety. Errors plummeted. Speed soared. Doctors described the experience as operating with the speed of thought. By late 2034, corporations embraced silent assistants. In a London bank, dozens of employees sat around a conference table, yet the room was nearly silent. Reports appeared on shared screens. charts updated in real time, spreadsheets filled with numbers. No one spoke. No one typed. They simply thought, and the machines obeyed. Meetings that once lasted hours finished in minutes. The office had become an orchestra of minds conducted in silence. Some militaries quickly adopted silent assistants. Soldiers wore helmets lined with quantum sensors. Commanders issued orders not by radio, but by thought. Advance, retreat, hold position. No signals could be intercepted. No communications jammed. To enemies, it looked like armies moving with uncanny coordination, but philosophers warned, when we share our thoughts with machines, how long before others claim the right to read them too? NASA and ESA equipped astronauts with silent assistants. In orbit, every second mattered. Now systems responded faster than any spoken command. Stabilize, adjust trajectory, shut valve. The spacecraft reacted as if it were an extension of the astronaut's own body. One astronaut wrote, "For the first time, I don't pilot the ship. I am the ship." Perhaps the most unexpected impact came in art. A musician composed symphonies without touching an instrument. Melodies flowed from neurons into notes. Painter imagined colors, and they appeared on a digital canvas. Brushstrokes came not from hands, but from thought. It was liberation, but also a debate. Was this art born of the soul, or filtered by the machine? Ordinary life began to change. People no longer pulled out phones to text. They messaged with their minds. On buses, tickets validated themselves through a passenger's thought. Children played video games, not with controllers, but with pure imagination. For some, it was magic. For others, it was terrifying. The line between thought and reality blurred. By late 2034, silent assistants entered homes. A woman walked into her kitchen with her arms full of groceries. She pictured light. The lamp obeyed. She imagined. Oven, 200 degrees, 15 minutes. The oven preheated itself. Homes grew quiet. No switches, no buttons. Just the whisper of intent. In subways, turnstiles disappeared. Passengers passed through, their minds confirming tickets. Bus drivers controlled traffic lights by thought. A mental command triggered a green wave, easing congestion. For the first time, traffic flowed like water. Children discovered silent assistance through games. A boy imagined wings, and on screen he became a dragon. His friends cheered. It was a new age of imagination. Teachers, though, worried. Will children become more creative or more dependent? Cities reshaped themselves. Banks no longer needed tellers. Customers transferred funds by imagining the action. Courts experimented with thought-enhanced truth systems. Witnesses' thoughts combined with micro-expressions revealed lies. On the streets, silence spread. No ringtones, no keyboard clatter, no horns. Only the quiet pulse of intention. But the silence carried unease. Who owned a thought? If a silent assistant misread a fleeting image or private fantasy, who was responsible? If a stray thought leaked into action, was it still private? Headlines asked. Is freedom of thought at risk? Do we need a bill of cognitive rights? Are we ready to share our dreams? One philosopher wrote, "The digital twin remade the body. Silent assistants remake the mind. But with this gift comes a burden, to protect the borders of the self." Relationships transformed. Two friends sat in a cafe, eyes locked, smiles wide. They didn't speak aloud, yet their silent assistants carried a flowing conversation. A couple tried sharing deeper thoughts. "Do you understand me?" became measurable, but intimacy became fragile. Some secrets, once safe in silence, now risked exposure. Writers used silent assistants to pour thoughts directly into novels. Critics wondered, if there is no filter, is it still literature? Cinema birthed a new genre, Silent Cinema 2.0. Actors spoke no lines. Audiences heard characters' thoughts directly. The theater stayed hushed, yet minds were filled with voices. 2034 passed into history, not with fireworks, but with whispers. Machines no longer listened only to our bodies. They listened to our thoughts. And yet, one question lingered. If machines can read thoughts, will humans someday read each other's? We had digital twins for the body, and we had silent assistants for the mind. The boundary of identity blurred. And as 2034 came to an end, the world prepared for a stranger possibility, a leader not of flesh and blood, but of code and circuits. For 2035, be remembered as the year humanity cast its vote for an AI president.